Hello, second grade. So we will be reading two short articles from Time for Kids magazine this week that are going to help us with that essential question of why are rules important. In this specific reading, we are going to read about how the Constitution sets the rules for our country. This is actually very ironic because my mom is a history teacher and she just had her high school students have a test on the Constitution last week. So it's kind of funny that we are learning about this now. Okay. This is an expository text, which we have talked a lot about this year. An expository text, for those of you who don't remember or want to say that you don't remember, is an informational text that uses things like pictures and diagrams to help you with your understanding. This article is called Setting the Rules. Who came up with the rules for our country? So you might already be thinking of some people that you might know from history who would be involved in setting up the rules. People like George Washington or Benjamin Franklin might come to mind. But we're going to learn about what they are called and maybe how they came up with the rules. Your parents vote. You can say what you think about a new law. People in your neighborhood can have a meeting. You are free to believe whatever you want. You can thank the Constitution for all of these things. In 1787, a group of men met in Philadelphia. They thought the country needed a better government because each state had its own rules. They wanted to create a united government that would work together. They decided to form a new set of rules called the Constitution. Everyone in the country would follow these rules. So the reason why they decided to come together was because each state, at the time there was around 13, had its own separate rules. They all had different laws and directions for their people. So not all the states had the same rules. Some had different ideas. The idea of making the Constitution was that they would create a united government so that the whole country and all the states would have a similar set of laws. Creating the Constitution. The writers of the Constitution included George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, James Madison, and other state leaders. They were called framers because they framed or planned the rules. The framers didn't always agree. They often exclaimed loudly that they would not sign the new rules and make them official. If you had a bunch of men exclaiming loudly that they would not sign the new rules, it would take you a very long time to get a set of rules together that they all actually agree on. But finally, after 4 months of debate, the framers agreed on the rules. That's a long time to argue. The Constitution is now the highest law of the United States. It explains the rules of the country and it tells how our government works. It gives rights or privileges to all people. Adults have the right to vote. You have the right to say your ideas or express your opinions. And your opinions are your thoughts or feelings. We have the right to live safely in our homes. These rights are explained in the Constitution. Changing with time. Over time, the Constitution has changed. Some rules have been added to the original document to help make life better or safer for the public. The first 10 rules added are called the Bill of Rights. They name the rights that belong to people in America. Another change gave women the right to vote. So far, there have been 27 changes to the Constitution. That's why it's known as a living document. It can be changed or updated at any time. So the Constitution that was made in 1787 has changed quite a bit up until now. For example, it's added at least 27 different changes. Things like getting women the right to vote, getting African Americans the right to vote. Things like that have all contributed to the changes of the Constitution. The Constitution. The Constitution isn't just about our nation's past history or its current rules. The document has become a symbol. Like the American flag, it stands for freedom and liberty. You can see the Constitution at the National Archive building in Washington, D.C. And this is a picture of what the original Constitution looks like. And in very big letters, it starts off with, "We the people," letting all of America know that they are united, all together, and that they're each an individual person coming together. You can also see the Bill of Rights at the National Archive building in Washington, D.C. So this is a picture of what the original Bill of Rights looks like. In the Bill of Rights, I believe it said in here are like the first 10 rules that were added to the Constitution. And they give specific rights for all Americans. At some point this week, you are going to be asked to pick a symbol of the United States to research and write about, so you could decide to use the Constitution if you want to, but we are also going to be learning about other American symbols that represent our country. If you turn to page 484, you'll get our second little article from Time for Kids magazine. This is also an expository text, but it is slightly smaller, and it's just pointing out different American symbols instead of teaching us the history of one symbol. So it says, American symbols. When you think of the United States, what image comes to mind? Do you picture the Statue of Liberty? How about the White House? These buildings and other important places and papers are national symbols. Here's a look at some famous symbols. Can you think of others? Our first one down here is the White House, which looks like this. The White House has been the home for every U.S. president except for George Washington. He found a spot to build it, but he was out of office by the time it was finished, so he never actually got to live in the White House. It says he laid the first stone, but the first president to move in was John Adams. The White House has become a symbol of the American president. The Liberty Bell. The Liberty Bell was originally ordered as a bell for Independence Hall. That is where the people who formed the Constitution met. The crack in the bell is more than 2 feet long, and you can see the crack right there. It starts at the bottom, goes all the way up. Just like its name, the bell symbolizes liberty. Also, fun fact, that crack happened on an anniversary of George Washington's birthday. Our next symbol is over here, and it's in New York. That is the Statue of Liberty. You can also see an up-close picture over here. The Statue of Liberty was a gift from France for the 100-year anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. But there wasn't enough money to complete it in time. The statue was not put up until 10 years after the anniversary. It is a symbol of freedom and hope. In fact, when many immigrants came over to America, the Statue of Liberty was a symbol that they finally got to freedom. And our last symbol that we're going to be learning about on this page is the Constitution. And the Constitution is a document that tells the rights and rules of people who live in the United States. It is kept under special glass in a building that is home to many famous documents. The Constitution stands for freedom and liberty. So a lot of our American symbols stand for freedom and liberty and hope and other things. And that shows other countries just what America stands for. We stand for freedom and liberty and hope. Okay? So we will talk about these more throughout this week, and you will be asked to pick a symbol, either one of these or something else that you come up with, like the American flag could be one, Declaration of Independence, things like that. And you will be asked to research your American symbol and write a little bit more about it. But for right now, goodbye. I'll talk to you guys later.